Hello students of plus 2 class. Now we are going to start with our second video of chapter inverse trigonometric function. In the previous video we have done the table of inverse trigonometric function, that is domain and ranges, right? And we have done that the domains are the numbers of the inverse trigonometric functions. Sine inverse and cos inverse, that is -1 to 1 closed interval. Cosecant and secant, that is reciprocal of sine and cos inverse, that is real minus open interval -1 to 1. It means if this is a line from minus infinity to infinity, there are two numbers, this is -1 and this is 1. Except these numbers, whatever the numbers are here on this interval and numbers here, that is the domain of cosecant and secant inverse, and tan inverse and cot inverse, that is both the real numbers. These are the domains. Coming back to ranges, ranges is also called principal value branch, and we have done range. Sine, there are three friends, sine, tan and cosecant inverse. They live together, they stay together. Their intervals are -π/2 to π/2, cosecant -π/2 to π/2 except 0. Why 0? Because in the cosecant function, cosecant is 1 upon sine. I knew that it does not exist without an angle, but for the sake of simplicity I am saying this. And if this is equals to sine 1 upon sine theta, this denominator is equals to 0, then this cosecant is not defined. So when this denominator is 0, that is at angle is equals to 0 degree, that theta is equals to 0. So we are removing this 0, right? So tan inverse open interval -π/2 to π/2, right? Next three friends are cos inverse, then secant inverse, and then cot inverse. Their intervals are from 0 to pi, first and second quadrant, right? These are in the first and second quadrant. This is 0 and this is pi. Closed interval 0 to pi, cos inverse, secant inverse, closed interval except -π/2. Why? Because 1 upon cos, where it is not defined, at an angle of π/2, because cos 90 is 0. And cot inverse is open interval 0 to pi. Why open interval? Because cot 0 at 0 degree and pi is not defined again, right? So this I told you, principal value branch. If you have learned this principal value branch, you have cracked 90% of your chapter. So it's very, very important. This we already had done in our previous video, and we have recalled our principal value branches. Moving on to the next page, that is page number 41. Notes are very, very important. If you see the notes, first point is sine inverse x should not be confused with sine x inverse. Why it is so? Because sine x inverse is equals to 1 upon sine x. This is 1 upon sine x, right? So this is your first point. So you need to understand this. You have done in exponential also, okay? And similarly for other trigonometric functions. This is first point. Second point is, whenever no branch of an inverse trigonometric function is mentioned, no branch means that nothing is mentioned. Principal value branch is not mentioned. We simply mean that principal value branch, the function lies between their principal value branch. Third point, the value of inverse trigonometric function which lies in the range of principal branch is called principal value of that inverse trigonometric function. Mark this point, very important. I know you do not understand what is principal value. The value of an inverse trigonometric function which lies in the range of principal branch. Suppose, what is the range of sine inverse? Range of sine inverse is -π/2 to π/2. This is closed interval. This is the range of sine function. Now if I take π/4, I knew that π/4 lies in this interval, right? Whatever the question is with me, I got the value of theta as π/4. This is my value, right? And if this value lies in the principal value branch. It means this is called the principal value, right? So this is called the principal value. If you now also did not understood, let us take an example. Example number 1 of your book, page number this only. Find the principal value of sine inverse 1 by root 2. How to solve it? Let sine inverse 1 by root 2 is equals to y. We have assumed that sine inverse root 2 is equals to y. Sine will go that side, it will become sine y. Sine y is equals to 1 by root 2, right? And when is the value of sine y is 1 by root 2? That is pi by 4. We knew that 45 degree, sine 45 degree is equals to, sine 45 degree is equals to 1 by root 2, or we can write 45 degree as pi by 4 also. So we got this, sine pi by 4 is equals to 1 by root 2, right? So it means principal value is pi by 4, and we will write this belongs to closed interval minus pi by 2 to pi by 2. If this belongs to this, so this is called the principal value. Now I hope you are cleared with this. Let us do exercise question now. Now see, if this you will see sine inverse, we will take negative, fourth part. Let us take fourth part, tan inverse minus of root 3. This we are going to take. Now let us take tan inverse. I am going to solve here. Tan inverse root 3 is equals to whatever you say, take it as x. This implies tan x is equals to minus root 3. Here negative sign is there. We know that tan of x is equals to minus root 3. It means this we can write it as minus. When is tan root 3? That is equals to, yes, tan pi by 3. 60 degree, at 60 degree tan is root 3. So this is equals to minus tan pi by 3, and we know that tan of minus theta is equals to minus tan theta, right? So we can write it as tan of minus pi by 3. I hope you are cleared with this is tan x, right? So now I am erasing this, right? So now from here what I get? I got x is equals to minus pi by 3. And is this belonging to, what is the principal value branch of tan inverse? That is open interval minus pi by 2 to pi by 2. So this one is belonging to minus pi by 2 to pi by 2, right? This is belonging. So yes, it is belonging, right? So this implies principal value of tan inverse minus root 3 is equals to minus pi by 3. This is principal value. The principal value should lie between the principal value branch of that particular inverse trigonometric function, right? Let us take one more example now. I hope this is clear to you. Now let us come to new question, that is cos inverse minus half. This is question number 5, cos inverse minus half, right? So in this again let us take cos inverse minus half is equals to, let us say, theta. We can take anything. This implies cos theta is equals to minus half. We know that according to interval it lies between first quadrant and second quadrant, right? We know that in first quadrant it is positive, cos is positive. In second quadrant it is negative, so it means this should lie between second quadrant. So now what is half? Cos, when is cos half? That is at pi by 3. So this can be written as minus cos pi by 3, right? Minus, as it is, half means cos pi by 3. Now what is cos pi by 3? How can we include this? Let us include sign inside. So it can be written as, it is equals to cos, when is cos negative? Second quadrant. So second quadrant pi minus pi by 3. We can write it as, right? We have done it cos of pi minus theta is equals to minus cos theta. This we have done in class +1, and I told you to revise all the formulas, how to do trigonometric functions. Once you know all these functions, then you will be able to easily understand this. Is it clear now? So now what we are going to do here, cos pi minus pi by 3. What is cos pi minus pi by 3? This cos theta is equals to, yes, theta is equals to now pi minus pi by 3, 3 pi minus pi, 2 pi by 3. This is the value, and this lies in the interval 0 to pi, closed interval 0 to pi. This you have to write, this step. This step is very, very important to write. Once examiner understood that you have written that what is its principal value branch, and this value is lying between that principal value branch, so this theta is equals to 2 by 3 is the principal value of that particular function. I hope now you are cleared with what is principal value, right? Now moving on again with the third point. Let us recall the value of an inverse trigonometric function. The value of that inverse trigonometric function which lies in the range of principal branch, right? So this is lying in the range of principal value branch, so that is called the principal value of that inverse trigonometric function. So once you understood this, you can easily solve these questions. Now till question number 10 you can easily solve this. Moving on with the question number 11. Now this is your question number 11. Tan inverse 1 plus cos inverse minus half plus sin inverse minus half. You have to find the value of this. So what you will take this tan inverse as first function, cos inverse as second function, and sine inverse as third function, right? So simply by taking first question you will find its principal value, by taking second function you will find its principal value, by taking third function you will find its principal value. Now taking first part, that is tan inverse 1, right? Let us take this as theta, so this implies tan theta is equals to 1, right? And when the value is 1, when it is equals to tan pi by 4, that is at 45 degree. So this implies theta is equals to pi by 4, and you have to write this belongs to what is its range, that what is its principal value branch, that is open interval minus pi by 2 to pi by 2, right? It is lying, so you got this as pi by 4. This is your first. What is second? Cos inverse minus half. This is your second. And in the previous question we have done, we have find out its value when we take it as, let us take it as phi. So cos phi is equals to minus half, and when it is minus half it is equals to minus cos pi by 3 at 60 degree. So we can write it as cos of pi minus pi by 3, right? So it is equals to 2 pi by 3. So we have got this phi as 2 pi by 3. This is your second value, right? Now taking sine inverse minus half. So sine inverse minus half is equals to y. So sine y is equals to minus half. In which quadrant it is negative? Let us again recall the value, principal value branches between first and the fourth quadrant, that is minus pi by 2 to pi by 2. This is its principal value branch. So it lies between first and fourth quadrant, and third quadrant there is no value lying. So it is negative minus half. So what we will take? First we will find the value of half. So sine in y is equals to minus half. It is equals to minus, when is sine half? That is sine pi by 6, right? And we can write it as sine of minus pi by 6, because in fourth quadrant 2 pi minus pi by 6 minus pi by 6, right? So it means y is equals to minus pi by 6, right? So now taking all these three, what is tan inverse 1? What was its value? Pi by 4. Cos inverse half, what was its value? What was its principal value? That is 2 pi by 3 plus 2 pi by 3. Now Next is plus sine inverse minus half. What is its value? That is minus pi by 6, right? This was the answer. Now adding these. So when we will add these, we will get LCM as 12. So 12, we will get here 3 pi plus 8 pi minus 2 pi, right? So we will get 9 pi by 12. After cancelling it with the 3 table, we will get it is equals to 3 pi by 4. This is the value of this question number 11, right? So we have done how to find the principal value. In the same way, we will find the principal value of the 3 functions, then we will add these 3 values. So same is the question number 12. Now question number 13. If sine inverse x is equals to y, so what is the value of y? Where y lies, right? So sine inverse x is equals to y. It means what we have to find? Y. Y lies between the closed interval minus pi by 2 to pi by 2. So its answer is B. It's closed interval, right? This is open interval. Cancel. 0 to pi, no way. 0 to pi, no way. So this is B part, right? Question number 13. Question number 14 is again MCQ, and this MCQ you will solve it yourself. In the next video, we'll be starting with the properties of inverse trigonometric functions. Till then, complete your exercise.